Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
Hey, away we go. Welcome to show number 2757. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and my cock. And you are in the men's room. On tap today, here come the bad jokes, bitches. The return of Ted versus the FCC. Get ready to play Profile This. What's headlines, a men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV time with Ted.
Click, clack.
Drinking and drunk. All right, here we go. 75-year-old Indiana man baked pot cookies for his church, and he has now been ordered by a judge to stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, a bar in Manhattan has banned a word, and if you say it, they will kick you out on the double. Good times at Gay Paris as 52 baboons escape Paris Zoo. A diplomat claims an immunity in Canada when his rent is 2 months due. And survey says we should all be managers at In-N-Out Burger. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, in a recent interview, Oprah Winfrey, not Oprah McGillicuddy, but in a recent interview, Oprah says that she will not run for president because, quote, she doesn't have the DNA for it. We do not care what Oprah's going to do. But her DNA comment, that got us thinking, what is in your DNA? Now, look, for some people, what's in your DNA might be a male pattern baldness, diabetes, and sausage fingers. For others, it might be excessive hairiness, buck teeth, and heart disease. Or maybe, just maybe, you're a stunningly attractive person who's in perfect health. And a lot of times, it has to do more with your DNA than any damn thing you did. But DNA, your heritage, it's an inescapable truth of being you. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Your big ears or nose or endless forehead or the hairy toe knuckles. Look, man, it's not your fault. It's in the genes. Look, there's even a dating service now that matches you by DNA. We'll explain the science behind it a little later, but they say there's 11 genes specifically that would make you attractive to someone else. But first, let's talk DNA. Here is our question. Go ahead, look in the mirror if you have to think about it. Maybe you're aware of it. Maybe it's just that trait that runs in the family. But good or bad, what is in your DNA?
844-999-OLA. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live and send those emails to the Men's Room at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
All the shows, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2757. What a large and charged program do we have for you today? Exciting return of Ted versus the FCC, as now you can play versus the FCC when you download the Men's Room app right now, man. It's you versus the FCC. We'll play Ted versus the FCC coming up today. Bad jokes on the way, and Profile This, and of course we will drink and toast as well with the shot of the day. And today we're going to talk about DNA and whether it is the perceived notion of your DNA, your actual DNA. A lot of people, including my daughter, wanted to get a one of those swab kits where you find out where you're from. And that was one of the gifts that she
wanted to disprove you being her father. That's really at the heart of this.
It could be.
Let's just say it out loud.
But, you know, and whatever those perceptions are, I want to say, like when we were kids, they said baldness skips a generation.
BS.
Or they said, diabetes would skip a generation, or all these weird just things. But let's face it, you know the drunk guy you've run into who has his Irish roots, and he'll tell you
that's why I'm drunk.
Right. You know, and whether
my last name's O'Malley.
Why it's the perceived, belief that you have inherently. And I think that's one of the reasons why when people do these actual DNA tests, they're kind of thrown off by the results.
Sure, man.
Because a lot of times it's not what people expected.
Well, you know what you've been told. And then
that's basically it.
This is information. And, who knows, man? Things get misconstrued, people lie, whatever the hell it is. But the only thing you know about your family is what someone told you about your family. I want to say our very own Drunk in Charge, his wife was kind enough to do one of those DNA tests for him for a birthday a few years ago. All right? So I don't know how it works with most people, but just understand this. Generally speaking, this is what he discovered. I want to say he found out he was more Scottish than Irish. He always had it the other way. More than that, his family has been on American soil since the 1600s. But the thing is, as he explained, essentially the story of him is his family was a lot of criminals very often. In each generation, they moved a little further west, honest to God.
Right.
And then they finally ended up in Washington State because they were criminals and worked away. They'd scammed so many people, it was better just to leave.
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know about Australia and why Australia is Australia. Mm-hmm. And the idea of the population. Look, you're going to go back in time. More than likely, there's going to be criminal activity there, or you wouldn't be there.
Yeah. That's right. You were there, man.
Prison. Yeah, unless your parents were wardens or they were involved in that. If you go to the lineage, surely that's where it leads. And we do have a story today about Charles Manson's grandson.
That's a happy kid.
And he said he would welcome a DNA test and felt optimistic before a hearing to find out if he could get the killer's property and remains. Now, if I'm Charles Manson's grandson...
What's his name?
His name is Jason Freeman.
I thought it was like Larry Manson.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you don't want to be Manson, right? You get rid of that.
Well, he does now. Now he
wants to be Manson.
He didn't want to be.
There's a fight to be who's the right Manson. Now the daughter showed up.
Look, man, if someone said you're the heir to Hitler's fortune, whatever's left, like, no, because all of you have changed your last name. Don't try to be them when there's something to gain.
But wouldn't you think that, like, maybe there's a chance that you could be crazy?
Yes.
I mean, you're Charles Manson's grandson. You have his DNA.
He carved a swastika in his forehead. Like, a lot of people have ordered other people to kill people. Mm-hmm. But he still seemed crazy even to those people.
Look, man.
But it doesn't necessarily mean the kids are going to be as crazy, right?
It doesn't mean
and not every pro athlete has a great athletic kid.
Right. Sure. But I'm going to tell you this, man. I don't care who you are. If your grandfather's Charles Manson, you can't help but think that maybe.
It just seems that, you're
going to be crazy.
The brain, any organ in your body, whatever. Like, if your grandfather died of a heart attack, your dad dropped dead of a heart attack at 55 years old, you're 50 years old, you're thinking to yourself, oh man, the two men ahead of me died about this time from a heart attack.
See, that's what you think. In my family, I'd be like, my grandmother was a murderer.
Yeah, well, and my mom. And
she poisoned both of them.
Everyone before him. Yeah, but you would just naturally think that, okay, well, I better take care of myself and make sure that my heart's in working order because it seems like every other man in my family dropped dead at the age of, so... Yeah. Heart disease would be hereditary. I would think that, I don't know, having a cult and killing people, there's a certain trigger in your brain that might pass down to generate. I don't know where you get that, you know what I mean? But it's no more different than a physical trait.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, man. I don't know how it works, but it doesn't help.
It doesn't help. But, I mean, it is different than a physical trait. A physical trait you can do nothing about. I mean, that's a mental. That dude was crazy all the way. Like, his kids probably are very cautious not to be as crazy.
Sure.
Like a lot of times you meet somebody that's really racist, meet their kids, you'll meet somebody who generally is pretty against racism.
When they get a little older.
Right? Yeah. That's true.
Maybe.
So, Oprah Winfrey, here's one of the reasons for the question today. She hasn't commented on any presidential aspirations since her speech at the Golden Globes. But InStyle magazine released an interview that was conducted a month ago, and in it, she talked about how Oprah 2020 is not going to happen. She said, quote, I've always felt very secure and confident with knowing myself, what I could do, what I could not, and so it's not something that interests me. I don't have the DNA for it.
She never said she was going to run for president.
And not necessarily that this is DNA as we know DNA.
Right. I know what she means.
I do know what she means as well. It just means like, this is not my thing, man. You know?
And I was like, yeah, I don't care. You never said you're going to run for president, so I never thought you were. But she said DNA, and I'm like, what is in my DNA? No one in my family, trying to think, like, even if it were in your DNA to be, like, somehow important, right? Like, the president, like, yeah, not so much in my family.
Well, I mean, you're
no one has, like, a substantial, some important, we know some people that do, but they're not family.
Mm-hmm. See, I would assume that your son will be tall.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
You're tall.
Sure.
But your parents aren't necessarily tall. Your brother's not necessarily tall. So how are you tall?
No, my brother's just not tall. Don't even be nice with it. He's just not tall. But
I'm saying, how did you get the height?
Though, I don't know. Because my father is the shortest of the boys on his side of the family. So he's 5'11", but everyone else is like 6'5" and 6'4", I think.
Really? So
Yeah.
all the guys that he
So I
goes
got
and kicks
that.
their ass are all bigger than him.
Right. That's exactly it.
Yeah, like my cousin Patrick is the tallest Smith because his grandfather on his mom's side is tall.
Right.
I mean, he's taller than his dad. He's taller than the rest of
I would
them.
say you Smiths top out of what, like 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah, 5'10".
I mean, come on, man. I'm not being mean. But
No,
I felt like-
5'10", except Patrick. He's 6'1". He's a giant.
Oh, the Giant Smith.
Ho, ho, ho.
You guys are like one of those weird clans from Lord of the Rings. The Smith clan is pretty sure has a mustache and beard, and everyone is exactly 5'10".
Yeah,
And
because a
kind
couple
of
of us
drunk.
are a little smaller. But the weird thing is, like, I was always the fattest one, then I had cousins that were real skinny. But as we've gotten older, we've all kind of morphed into about the same size.
Are you like, ha-ha?
Oh, it's great for me.
Good or bad, what is in your DNA? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Cheyenne. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, as far as what's in my DNA, I'm actually related to both Crazy Horse and William Wallace, not to be confused with Mel Gibson from Braveheart.
That's not him?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Okay, all right. The guy who calls people sugar teas.
Yeah.
Not the same, you're
Not
saying?
that guy.
Not that one. All right, okay.
Yeah, not that guy, no.
So, okay, so Native American, obviously.
Yes.
And what, so where
Do
did
you
most...
scream freedom and
Yeah.
then not get it?
At times I have, yes.
Okay, when you see people litter, do you cry?
Yes, I've shed a few tears,
Okay.
and then...
Do you seldom choose to wear pants?
Well, as you guys may or may not remember, I do tend to lose them from time to time.
Do you have a black T-shirt with wolves on it?
No, I do not.
Do you have that blue jewelry like they have in Arizona?
Turquoise.
Yeah.
No, the turquoise stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's more of the stuff.
So how did you find this out? Is this something that you've had tested, or is this just the family saying, hey, you're related to Crazy Horse? I almost said Mike Wallace.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Mike Wallace. Not Mike. So is this something you've been told?
This is something that I've known for a while. My grandfather was Scotch-Irish, and then, like, my heritage has been predominantly Native, so then I watched Braveheart one day, and my mom said, you know...
You look like Mel Gibson.
No, trust me, far from it.
So, okay. Is there like is there a history museum or something somewhere that has anything about his life? Is there a monument? You know what I mean? Is there someplace you could go? Like if you walked in there like, yeah, man, this is my spot. I own this.
Right.
This is my family.
I would like to think so, but I haven't found one as yet, no.
Okay, all right.
How is it that William Wallace and Crazy Horse's DNA got to mixing? I mean, is it just complete random, or is there anything there?
Well, my dad was, it's as simple as the fact that my dad, being Native, was related to Crazy Horse. And then my mom was part Scotch-Irish, and she happened to be related to William Wallace. So,
Okay. Just that
The
easy.
Scots-Irish were pretty much kicked out of everywhere. That's how they all end up in the hills making moonshine and whatnot.
Probably where they made friends with the natives.
That's
Like,
what I'm thinking.
We get
right?
it.
Right?
We get it, man.
Get out of the city.
Yeah. Well, that's quite the yin and the yang there.
Yeah, but then wouldn't you feel compelled to do something with your life? Like, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm related to Crazy Horse and William Wallace. And for a second, I'm thinking, wow, man, that's pretty cool. But now I'm thinking, wait a minute. What are you going to do? Like, don't bring, why are you letting them down, man?
Right.
You know what I mean? They did some significant stuff.
Good or bad, what is your DNA? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Jen. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, Bichola.
Hola.
Ty, that guy before, I'm actually related to Geronimo, but that's not why I called.
You're actually related to who?
Geronimo.
Get out of here.
Come on.
Yeah, he's like my great-great-great-great-grandfather or whatever.
Or whatever.
But I don't know.
Or whatever. I'm pretty sure if you go to Ancestry.com, they end everything with or whatever.
Do you honor him anytime you jump?
No.
Okay.
No.
So Geronimo.
I don't have wisdom teeth.
And how did you find this out? What's the benefit of being related to Geronimo other than being able to say you're related to Geronimo?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay.
All right. And you said you have no wisdom teeth.
Yeah, I'll never have wisdom teeth. I'm going to be 29 in June, and I'm still getting my 12-year-old molar in. And when I was 17, I went to the dentist. He's like, how old are you, 12? And I'm like, no, you've been my dentist since I was like 7, and I'm 17.
Jen?
He's like, oh.
Have you had your period yet?
Molar.
Man, my God, have you hit puberty? How the hell are your teeth still growing in?
So that's the only thing that hasn't come in on time.
Yeah, it's just one molar. It's the back right top molar. It's still coming in. And then when they did x-rays, they found out that there were absolutely 0 wisdom teeth. There will never be wisdom teeth. I'm like 1 in 100. That
You know who I blame? I blame Geronimo.
Have you ever thought about moving to West Virginia just to show off?
No.
Okay.
How old did you say you were?
I'm going to be 29 in June.
I mean, I think if you're 29, we could stop saying that tooth's still coming in.
Yeah,
Right? It
right.
might just not-
It would have been here.
Right.
It would have been here.
Right.
Okay, what can't you eat? Jen, do you have any difficulty?
I don't have problems eating any food, but I have food intolerances, and I'm pretty sure that's because of my redheaded gene.
Your redheaded gene. Okay.
A redhead missing teeth. God damn.
I know you got freckles.
I'm just a cluster F of, yes, I have the freckles, which come from the Irish and the native. I have the really high cheekbones, which is the native.
Okay. What do any of your other
cluster F.
family members lack teeth?
No, I'm the only one, as far as I know of, that don't have wisdom teeth. I
Now-
do have my aunt. I also run 2 degrees cooler than the average person. And
So you're 96 degrees.
You're a cold,
I
redhead.
should be 96.8. If I'm at 98.6, I'm running a fever. And so if I go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you're at 99, I'm like, yeah, that's a fever for me. They're like, oh, no, it can only be, I'm like, no, for me, that's a fever.
But you know what, Jen? I think a lot of people just learned today, because you said you're redhead and you run 2 degrees colder, which tells all of us our souls weigh approximately or approximately 2 degrees.
Now, Jen, I got to ask you this, because you said you were a redhead, but you also said you were native. Now, when you go to the beach for a week, can you go out in the sun and not get burned then?
So what I do is I do put the sunblock on. I don't necessarily have to. I will burn, but within 3 days, that burn turns to a tan. So I don't get the burning, peeling, whatnot. It burns, and then 3 to 4 days later, I'm tan.
Okay.
I still use sunblock, though, because I don't want to see
Now, will your kids possibly not have teeth?
Will they be toothless yahoos?
I won't ever have kids. I'm working on getting a tubal ligation surgery, so I won't.
Is that just getting your tubes tied?
Yeah. I don't want kids ever. They're horrible.
What did you do? Did you work? Did you work at a school? How do you know this?
Well, I used to be a preschool teacher.
Okay.
Say no more. Say no more. Say no more. Say no more.
We understand, man. Say no more. Point made, dude. All right. Yeah, we knew it had to be something.
I know.
It's one thing to say, I don't want kids. I don't want the responsibility.
Like, I'm going to the doctor
They're
to make
horrible.
sure that this does not happen.
They're horrible.
I'm willing to be cut inside and operated on my privates. This matters so much to me.
Because I've been around kids.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You don't know kids are horrible until you've had to deal with kids. I know that now, but nobody told me.
The only ones you can tolerate are your own.
And even then, it's a little sketchy.
It is. But all their friends are
tolerance
just
is
unbelievable.
That's a relative word.
Good or bad, what is in your DNA? 844-999-OLA.
Is there ever another kid where you're like, that's a cool kid? Like, I like that one better.
There's
I mean,
kids
of course
say
you don't. I know you
they're
don't.
very
but-
well behaved.
I think
There's
so,
all
yeah.
this kind of thing. That is a cool kid. This is a genuine kid, whatever. Look, the long and short of it, you love your kids because legally and biologically you're obligated to. Because there are moments where you're like, this must be biological because you should not be here. You should not live in my home with me. You are a rabid animal with an opinion. But somehow you let them stay. So she's right. Hello, Dan. Welcome to the men's room.
What is up?
Hola.
Oh, hey, Dan.
Hey, I ain't related to anybody like famous or anything, but I'm sure if I was, they would probably be locked up or get some time locked up. Because I've done a little bit of time locked up, and I really don't know if it's really all my fault. Because looking at the DNA, my dad is he was a biker, and he's kind of a prick, I guess, if I could say that word out loud.
What was he? Was he just a tough dad growing up, or?
Well, I didn't really meet him because my mom she's super, she overreacts on everything. Like, she just is really emotional, and she, kind of overreacted from that and left him and married a cop.
Oh, well, that's quite the swing. Yes, yes. I'll get you back.
I was like, all right, Dad. I found out when I was 5, my dad was a biker. And as I grew up, I would do little things like steal crumbs off cars and do little things. And ends up, I got, today I got, 2 strikes, spent 11 years locked up. I'm doing good now. But it's like, man, where does that come from? I try to teach my kids that this is what is in your DNA. This is what you are. You might be a little.
Look, man, look. I would say that you hear the argument: nature versus nurture. All right. Yeah. So the nurture probably leads you down a bad path, but your nature, it's still on you. Particularly after the first time you get popped. In that moment, you get a little clarity of mind. Mm-hmm. And it is that if you know you're not doing the right thing, if you know you're committing a crime or making a bad decision, inevitably that's on you. But what kind of showed you that path, that's certainly a little different.
Is your dad still around?
I am just and I'll be honest, I'm just an addict. I mean, for real.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, let me ask, is your dad still alive?
Yeah.
He is. Did he come and see you when you were incarcerated?
No.
He did not. Did anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right. And is your grandfather still around?
No.
Was he a law-abiding citizen, or was he?
I really don't know much about my real grandpa.
Okay.
All right.
I don't.
And what do you struggle? What do you struggle with addiction-wise?
Pretty much anything and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever was there at the time, whoever was making whatever, or whoever.
Well, what do you do now, man? What do you do now?
I don't want to get too much into that, but just whatever was there at the time, whoever, whatever was the best connection. I don't want to get into all that.
Sure.
But,
I'm sure you've been sober.
I've been in some trouble with that.
Well, you're incarcerated for 11 years. I think we can really read between the lines on that one, man. But surely you get clean after 11 years, whether you want to or not, I would guess.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good, and it feels good. It does.
Well, that's it, man. Yeah. That's all you're going to get out of anything is how you feel about anything you've done, right?
That's it. Good or bad, what is in your DNA? 844-9990. All right, more calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bichola. You have entered the men's room.
Ida Clay is an actress, yoga instructor in Houston, Texas, and with her time stretched thin, she tried some digital dating, and with little success. I have done Match.com, I have done OkCupid, I have done eHarmony, I've done Tinder, I've done Bumble, I've done Farmers Only. No, just kidding. I've done things, and nothing happens, says Clay. Ida's hoping to make a splash into the dating pool by signing up for a new app that uses the genetic pool. Genetic Brittany Barreto and data analyst Asma Mirza co-founded Pheromore, which uses DNA to help users find dates. One of our taglines is bringing love at first sight to the palm of your hand. The creators say there are 11 genes that impact attraction. The app processes DNA.
Wrangler, Jordache.
Exactly, all of them. You know the good ones. From a Lucky, assless jeans.
Joe jeans.
From a cheek swab,
skins.
you basically get matched on pheromones and the chemicals released by the body that can trigger attraction. Isn't it strange, though, that it just seems like people have a certain type, for sure, and then there is the aspect of they just kind of look like themselves in a weird way. And I don't know the right way to say that. But I think the right way to do it.
I know what you mean, man.
Like, you ever see a picture of a couple and they kind of look alike. It's like they're almost, and all these weird attractions when people don't know their brother and sister or whatever. And there's just a weird thing with people. I've never seen people who are just absolute complete opposites. Every once in a while you see people who are night and day different.
I would date women that look like Tyrese.
But it seems like a majority of the time you see someone and you're like, they kind of look similar, don't they? Is it me?
I mean, you've been on this theory for a long time.
Yeah.
There are couples that kind of get that way, but I don't think it's predominant.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've just seen some pictures sometime, and I'm like, they look like they should be together.
Sure. And I get some of that. But there's plenty of couples, too, where you look at them and say, there's no way they should be together.
We can see the difference in
no freaking way.
You can see when money might be involved or
even if it's not
whatever
money,
the deal
you're
is.
You're just kind of like, man, oh, man. Because money, I get it. Like, I get why you're together. I get that. But you look at some couples where you just go like, I don't understand how this came
like
to be.
I have a buddy that people give him crap all the time. Like, well, yeah, you're rich. And it's like, now he's been married for 20 years.
Right.
He was poor as hell when he met her.
Sure.
Now they could say that's why she's still with you.
Right. But that would make sense.
Okay,
Right.
but look. If you walked into a room,
Maybe not.
if you walked into a room, Ted, and there were 20 women in the room.
All right.
Okay.
Are they all single?
Yeah, let's for the sake of our
Yeah,
all single. This is going to be a good night.
All right.
You can look around now. You might be attracted to that curly
If you
hair.
walk in and say that, by the way, you're getting thrown out. If you walk into a room with 20 women, all right.
I walk in and go, they all single? All right.
You might look at that hot.
Is there alcohol, Miles? Is there food?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, we're not-
Lock the door behind me.
We would never invite people in without having a nice spread. So
Sir, grab my hat.
It's
a Jimmy hat.
you might see one of your favorite Cuban weather women over there. You know.
All right.
With the derriere that you appreciate, the long dark hair,
She's tan skinned.
everything that you love, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But we look around the room.
What else would be tanned? Like she's tan skin. You can say tan. Like I would assume you meant her skin. Like we know tan skin, man. What else is tan?
Some areas bleached. You know what I'm saying? But
If you have to ask. Right.
You ain't living.
But that's not who's going to be attracted to you. And even though you're attracted to them, it just doesn't. It's not mutual. Like it's not that I find blondes not attractive. I just typically they're not attracted to me. So I haven't dated a lot of blondes. So, but you walk in the room. There's going to be a blonde haired woman there, and you know for a fact that you can look over and despite all the other ones, like if it's going to happen, I just know it's going to be with her.
Yeah, but that's not that bad either.
It's not bad, but I'm saying
I think he's jealous, Ted. I don't think he's saying this this is a problem.
right.
Like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Right.
It might
All
be
right.
Single ladies in the house.
Remember, this door is locked.
Good or bad, what is in your DNA? 844-999-OLA.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.